Thank you for joining us here on Rwanda Television on this 10th day of July. These are the latest headlines for our viewers in Rwanda and around the world. The African Union Commission has commended the Rwandan government for sending troops and police to Mozambique to jointly work with the country's armed forces in peacekeeping and counter-insurgency in its northern province of Cabo Delgado. The Minister of Health, Dr. Daniel Ngamije, notes that more infections will be recorded if people continue to neglect health guidelines in place to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. Happy Saturday, good evening, and a very warm welcome to tonight's broadcast with me, Gloria Mutisi. Now, as we begin the bulletin today, this is an appeal to all of us. The pandemic is still ravaging. We continue to lose people every day, and our loved ones are lying in hospital beds fighting for their lives. Infections are on the rise, and yet there's still a laxity with which some people treat the guidelines. Please don't be one of them. Well, there you have it. Let's not take 5 steps ahead, only to take 10 backwards. Think twice before you go beyond the regulations. Well, in other items that we prepared for you today, the African Union Commission has commended the Rwandan government for sending troops and the police to Mozambique to jointly work with the country's armed forces in peacekeeping and counterinsurgency in its northern province of Cabo Delgado. As Ethan Tashobia reports, the joint force will work closely with Mozambique Armed Defense Forces and forces from the Southern African Development Community in designated sectors of responsibility.
This Saturday afternoon, the second group of about 600 Rwandan police and soldiers left for Cabo Delgado in the northern part of Mozambique to reinforce security and crack down on terrorist groups that have destabilized the area. The deployment of the Rwandan forces began on Friday, and the troops will be sent in several dispatches, according to the RDF spokesperson, Colonel Ronald Rwivanga. He says the work of the Rwandan armed forces in Mozambique will include combat operations where necessary.
This
operation is based on our bilateral relation with the government of Mozambique. Besides, laws permit us to engage in security operations anywhere there is need to reinforce security as long as we are called upon. The work of the Rwanda contingent will be to support efforts to restore Mozambican state authority by conducting combat security operations if necessary, as well as stabilizing and security sector reform.
Gufatanya n'inzego z'igisirikare kubaka ubushobozi nabyo biri mu kazi kacu.
Beginning in October 2017, armed extremists linked to the Islamic State of Iraq and Levant, ISIL, launched an insurgency on Cabo Delgado region of Mozambique. The group sometimes claims to be linked to Al-Shabaab, but this has not been verified. The fact that the Cabo Delgado province has been greatly destabilized by terrorism is one of the reasons Rwanda has deployed its armed forces and police to protect civilians, according to Rwanda National Police spokesperson CP John Bosco Kabera.
The police force has been deployed to fight terrorism in collaboration with the Mozambican police. The second thing is to protect civilians and give them a sense of security and stability. That's the main mandate of the police.
Rwanda's deployment of troops to reinforce security in Mozambique has been hailed by many as a true spirit of Pan-Africanism. Earlier this Saturday, the chairperson of the African Union Commission, Musa Faki Mahamat, took on Twitter to express his support for the initiative, saying, and I quote, "I commend the Republic of Rwanda's deployment of 1,000 RDF and Rwanda National Police members to Cabo Delgado at the request of the government of Mozambique as a strong and concrete act of African solidarity to support a fellow member state to fight terrorism and insecurity." According to the statement from the government of Rwanda, the deployment of 1,000-person contingent of the Rwanda Defense Force and Rwanda National Police to Cabo Delgado province came at the request of the government of Mozambique. The joint force will work closely with the Mozambique Armed Defense Force (FADM) and forces from the Southern African Development Community (SADC) in designated sectors of responsibility. Reporting for RTV News, Ethan Tashobia.
Many thanks, Ethan Tashobia. Now, still on Rwanda's deployment in Mozambique, in our next story, we take you to Cabo Delgado province in the northern part of this Central African nation and the history of insecurities in this area. Sam Kalisa.
Mozambique is a country located in southeastern Africa, bordered by the Indian Ocean to the east, Tanzania to the north, Malawi and Zambia to the northwest, Zimbabwe to the west, and Eswatini and South Africa to the southwest. The sovereign state is separated from the Comoros, Mayotte and Madagascar by the Mozambique Channel to the east. Mozambique is divided into 10 provinces, including Cabo Delgado in the north. The province is unique and home of gas deposits, estimated to be more than 5 billion cubic meters, which experts have predicted that could make Mozambique the world's fourth largest gas producer after the United States, Qatar, and Australia in the next decade. Mozambique was colonized by Portugal from the 16th century to 1975, when the country gained independence under Frelimo political party. Just 2 years after the independence, another war broke out between the Frelimo party and the Renamo opposition coalition, which lasted for 15 years. In 1992, Frelimo and Renamo signed a peace treaty led by former President Joaquim Chissano of Frelimo and Alfonso Dhlakama of Renamo. Fast forward from October 2017, armed Islamist extremists linked to the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant launched a jihadist insurgence in the Cabo Delgado region. The militants launched attacks and committed mass atrocities, including more than 100 people who were beheaded in April and November 2020, while thousands of civilians have been displaced by the fighting. According to Professor Masabo Francois, an expert on international politics and conflict resolution, security issues in the North Mozambique are linked to the ongoing wars and governance issues. Cabo Delgado is known to have terrorist groups linked to Al-Shabaab, and its residents have now rallied behind them because they may not be happy with the leadership. Because this is a very vast area with large forests, the Mozambican forces can't fight this war alone. Although Mozambique Defense Armed Forces have tried to counter terrorist groups, the people of Cabo Delgado are still under threat. They are still threatened by poverty and insecurity. Professor Masabo Francois said that more military presence was needed to end the insecurity in Mozambique. It may be difficult for an outsider to fully understand the exact situation on the ground, but what we know is that wars like those, it is very possible for civilians to get recruited and fight the government on the side of terrorists. Fighting such insurgencies requires specialized combat skills without necessarily using force.
Ibyo byose ugomba kubyitaho kugira ngo iyo ntambara ugire uburyo yirwana udakoresheje amasasu gusa.
The people of Cabo Delgado, an area rich in natural resources, are thirsty to see these resources put to use so that they could benefit from them and live in peace. The region has attracted major global petroleum companies, including those from France, USA, Italy, Russia, China, India, Japan and Thailand.
To other matters now, hairdressers and people that seek beauty and haircut services have said that as the COVID-19 infections and deaths keep on rising, they have put in efforts in the fighting the spread of the pandemic. It's while the Minister of Health, Dr. Daniel Ngamije, has noted that more infections will be recorded if people decide to keep on neglecting health guidelines in place to fight the pandemic. Ghislaine Mugwaneza.
Beauty salons are among the places where many people meet for different services, including haircuts, hairdressing, and other related services. Beauty salon workers have said that the number of clients had decreased due to restrictions on a number of related activities that would otherwise need services of beauty salons, such as events and weddings. We're confused due to how many activities got closed, including weddings and events in general. We often get clients when there are such activities. On the other hand, clients say they come for these services but well aware of the need to uphold health measures in place to fight the pandemic. Though I came in the salon, I'm more careful because it's worthy coming so that you won't look bad, but I protect myself in order to avoid the spread of COVID-19. We all put on face masks properly. Beauty salon workers have said that due to their working nature, sometimes it is hard to practice social distance. However, they say they are complying with measures in place to fight COVID-19. I do a job of cutting and polishing women's nails. All things we do, we care about cleanliness in order to fight this pandemic and work 24/7. And also events get reopened. Rwanda Federation of Beauty Making officials have said that in 540 beauty salons they work with, some of them did not comply with measures to fight COVID. There are some salons that were found working while having no social distance. You would find other places having more workers and people would put off face masks. That is why we had set a team that keep on passing in salons, checking if measures are being respected, as well as encouraging people to fight COVID-19. The working nature requires one to protect himself and protect others. The Minister of Health, Dr. Daniel Ngamishi, says that fighting COVID-19 should be everyone's responsibility.
It is possible to protect yourself from COVID-19. You should respect measures in place, including social distancing, wearing face masks properly, avoiding mass gatherings and overcrowding, because when there is one infected person in a room, others can also get infected easily. We should all contribute in fighting COVID-19. Let's not play hide and seek with officials. We cannot get enough people to keep reminding others if they don't take this as their own responsibility. More infections will be recorded.
Beauty salon workers are demanding that COVID-19 testing and vaccines program should be extended to them, as this would keep them safe but also curb on the spread of this virus. Shislene Mugwaneza, RTV News.
Now, the Gatsibo District Administration says its new strategy to fight COVID-19 pandemic includes cracking down on inter-district movement, which is against the recently adopted government measures to contain the spread of the virus. Gatsibo borders Nyagatare district, which has been listed among the red zones and the district is under partial lockdown, although Gatsibo district is not under special COVID-19 control measures. Figures from the Ministry of Health show that in July, 66 people were infected with the virus in the district, with Esim Chiramuruzi registering 19 infections so far. District authorities say all COVID-19 patients who are under home-based quarantine are regularly visited by health professionals every 3 days to assess their conditions. It's while local authorities told RBA that in the past 2 weeks, most COVID-19 patients have recovered, and they hope that the curve will flatten in the area if the local population avoids interacting with people from the neighboring border district of Nyagatare, where COVID-19 cases are still high. In other news, the residents of Bugarama Valley in Rusizi district are concerned about the lack of clean water in the area, and they say that a month has passed with no access to clean water. They fear that this water shortage could result into the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. Gabi Muvunyi continues.
In Bugarama homes, water taps have run dry. It is close to a month that we have not had any running water from our taps. We have to buy water in jerrycans, where a jerrycan costs 150 francs. On the streets of Bugarama, residents travel up and down looking for water. On the Rusizi River, which flows through one of the villages, residents have started using the water for domestic chores. This is Rusizi River. We use this water to shower, wash utensils, cook, and we also drink it. Due to the current COVID-19 pandemic, people are required to frequently wash their hands as part of the preventive measures. Because of the water shortage, the residents are unable to wash their hands before entering the market or even shops. It is hard to get anywhere close to fetch water. We fetch water from the Rusizi River for domestic use, but to get water to use at our workplace is quite hard. The water shortage can lead to more COVID-19 infections. The residents express concern, saying that the water is only available in some areas and only comes a few minutes, barely able to fill 2 jerrycans of water. 1 jerrycan goes for around 150 francs. The mayor, Ephraim Kayumba, says while there's a long-term solution to resolve this problem, the residents shall receive assistance for the time being. We have set out a plan to distribute water within the district. The residents will therefore be able to store water till the water comes back. In the long run, we plan to build a water channel that we will connect from Butare that will solve this problem of the water shortage in this area. The Bugarama Valley is one of the most densely populated area in the district. During the dry season, this area always experiences a water shortage. The residents are calling on the authorities to aid them on this matter in order to reduce the spread of the virus. Gabi Muvunyi for RTV.
Thank you, Gabi. Now, residents in Rusatira and Chinazi sectors assure that the granted ambulance from Huye district officials is a solution to them, especially to those that were being troubled by taking patients to the hospital.
This granted ambulance has got basic needs to facilitate patients, including first aid and striker beds. The residents that came for health services at Rusatira Health Center have said that this ambulance will make it easier for patients, especially for pregnant women. We used to have issues of getting ill at home, and you would find it hard to make it to the health center. But today, we can thank the government enough for thinking about us so that we also have an ambulance. We thank God. There are sectors that are far from the health centers, and it would be hard for a woman in labor pain to reach the hospital and should give birth at home. We are thankful, and everyone would appreciate this activity. The head of Rusatira Health Center, Beata Mitali, has said that the ambulance will solve some issues in providing health services. We have many people that come to us. We would have to call an ambulance where available if needed. We're happy that today we received an ambulance that will be helping those in need of district hospital services in a quick way. Uye District Mayor Anjese Ruteje has said that the district has a goal to achieve every year of buying an ambulance which will help in providing better health services. Currently, there are 5 ambulances that were given in 14 sectors. You understand that all sectors haven't gotten the ambulances yet. So we managed to find the center where it could be easier to share and help the residents. They would help us if used well and provide better services as we keep on achieving a goal of providing an ambulance to every sector. This ambulance, worth 60 million francs, is among 5 ambulances that were provided by Huye District.
News now. From Monday the 12th to the 18th of July this year, 4 countries including Rwanda will play in the forthcoming Women's AfroBasket Zone 5 qualifiers. The final tournament will be held in Cameroon from 17th to the 22nd of September this year. And the 4 countries that will compete in Rwanda are Kenya, South Sudan, Egypt, and the hosts Rwanda. Rwanda Basketball Federation Secretary General Jabo Landry says that preparations have been made in such a way that the participating delegation will be kept safe from the COVID-19 pandemic.
The players shall be staying in a bubble. No one will be allowed to enter or leave the premises. The staff members will also be at a hotel. They will leave the hotel only when going to arena and back to the hotel. For any fans that will want to enter will have to be tested. These are the measures we have to put in place in order to adhere to COVID-19 preventive guidelines.
Arabanza agapimwa PCR yarangiza akajya muri hoteli azasohoka amatashye.
Now, the professional players from other teams abroad have now joined the rest of the team in the camp, and the national women's team says that they are ready to do their best and not let the Rwandans down.
The preparations are underway. We have been preparing for the past 2 months. The coaches and players have arrived as planned. We have 4 professional players that came from Europe and America. Looking at our team, we are certain we shall win the cup.
The regional qualifying tournaments across the continent are all happening this month, and a winner from each zone will automatically book a place for the finals in Cameroon. The qualifiers will be broadcast on Rwanda television. Well, that's all we had for you tonight. Thank you for the privilege of your time. Have a great weekend. Of course, not forgetting to remind you to do all that's required of you to stop the spread of the pandemic. And someday, this will all be over. Otherwise, God bless you and keep you. And until next time, I'm Gloria Mutesi. Bye for now.